Hello Goblins, this is Andy, also known as the Damp Cobra from Geek Curio, and here's my little video for you as promised regarding the compressor that I have for my airbrush. So this model is the AS-186. Its weight is about just under 5 kilos, and when I bought this I paid about £80. That's about 90 euros, 100 US. 140 Canadian and 160 Australian for any Aussies out there. This came with a hose, which is here, and two airbrushes. Now the airbrushes were two different types. So we had the typical gravity feed brush, and we also got the siphon brush with it as well. So I'll quickly show you what the difference is between those two. So the siphon brush, you put the paint in here. Now, the main differences with these brushes is basically how much pressure you actually need to use them. So really you want to be looking at the gravity feed one. You only need about 30 psi to run that, and for miniature work and small work, that's pretty much all you're going to need. The siphon brush, it took me ages to figure out how to use it, to be honest with you. But mainly this is people who use it for much larger areas. Body painting, for example, is a good example of that when I looked out on YouTube. And you have to put the PSI up quite high on this one in order to use it. Just to quickly go over the gravity feed one. This is a dual action brush. And what that means is basically this little tab here, you push down for the air to come out. And then you pull back to draw the needle back, and that will basically control the flow of paint onto your miniature. Right, so I'm just going to show you this in action because I know some of you have asked how noisy it is. So actually no, I'll go over the parts first. So this is the model itself. I'd say it's about 5 kilos. This is the actual motor. I believe this is some sort of heat sink. I'm not into electronics, so you'll have to Google that if you want. The reservoir is this big tank here, and that basically holds quite a lot of air. The good news about the reservoir is that once it's full, it'll only start filling up again once the pressure starts dropping, so you don't get any splutters or cutouts. You've also got a PSI gauge here, a knob that you can change the PSI for. If I ever do more videos, I'll be able to go over why and when you'd want to be using that. But normally you want to be set between about 20 and 30, depending on the type of paint you're using. I've also got a moisture trap and a little thing there which gets air out. So I'll quickly put the hose in. I'll connect up the airbrush and we will turn it on so you can hear how noisy it actually is. Okay, if I do it without this on, all that's going to happen is the air's just going to come straight out. So here we go. So I've actually got this set at 30 psi. I don't know how noisy this is with it running. Like I say, I wanted to talk while this is running so you can make a decision yourself. Bear in mind I am recording on my tablet, which is on a table, which this is on a table as well. So normally I have this on a shelf at my workstation, which is currently packed away at the moment because I'm meant to be moving house, but that's another story altogether with what's going on. And we're up to about 30 psi already. It's actually going a little bit over that, so I'm just going to turn that down, and that should fill up and cut off very, very soon. If you run it at higher PSIs, it normally takes longer to fill up. And also when you're using it, the motor will kick in a lot sooner as well. Obviously, air's being used a lot quicker. Okay, I don't know how to edit videos, I'm afraid, so you might just want to skip forward until you see me talking again. This doesn't normally take that long. I am running it from a completely empty tank though. Okay, so that is actually full. So the entire tank now is 100% full. and I've got plenty of air to play with when I'm doing my airbrushing. Now, I'm not actually going to be doing any airbrushing in this video at all, but I will show you a few things. So basically, let's just go over the dual action again. So we press down, air comes out. Press down and pull back, control the flow of paint. Obviously I've got no paint in here whatsoever at the moment. But that is basically how I do my airbrushing when I'm working with minis. So a good way to do it as well is basically to push down, and you just get air coming out, and then just gently pull back until you can see the right amount of paint going onto your mini. Rather than completely letting go, I tend to go back to having the, as you can see it's just kicked in again, just having some air which will actually dry the paint in the mini a little bit faster as well, so you can work very, very quickly. It's fantastic for undercoating your minis as well. And like I say, in a future video I'll probably show me using the airbrush for undercoating and other things. Just going to let you know about a few useful accessories as well. What I have here is a quick release valve, and basically what that does, it's useful especially if you've got more than one airbrush as well. So I actually use about 3 airbrushes at the moment. I'm able to load them up with different colours, and because of the quick release valve I can actually switch very, very quickly. So this cost me about £5. I got 2 females and about 5 males. And trust me, this is probably one of the most important things you want to buy if you're going to get an airbrush as well. So the reason why is because basically switching the airbrush is a pain. However, quick release valve, there's no air escaping. The male end goes onto the end of the airbrush, and you can very easily just pop it in and quick release as well. So like I say, that's a really useful thing that I got with this. Other accessories you can get, I've seen sandblasting guns as well. You would say, what would you need a sandblasting gun for? But to be honest with you, if you're doing scenery stuff, it probably would be useful. It's really good for cleaning as well. One of the other things I want to do in the future is get myself a pressure pot. So this will actually be used to add air to the pressure pot. This is because I want to do resin casting in the future. So it's really useful for that. With regards to brushes, I've seen YouTube videos of people saying, oh, I can get a brush for £5. When I normally see that, it's normally about £10 postage and packaging. But I've picked up workhorse brushes for about £12.99 to £15, and they're perfectly fine. The difference between one of these and the £200 brushes that I've seen, like the Badgers, is basically the quality of the needle. Now, I actually have seen a YouTuber who actually modified the needle so it actually got much better results. And to be honest with you, with the workhorses, this is a skill that, you know, we're going to learn. It's another tool in your toolbox. You will get better at using an airbrush, and like I say, I'm not going to show any painting on this video, but I've actually been able to do close-up work with this brush. I wouldn't be able to do fine detail stuff, but I can. For example, I did a Blood Bowl commission. I was able to draw lines on the 32mm bases, or are they 25? 30, can't remember for Blood Bowl, but anyway, I was able to draw chalk lines like you would have on a football pitch, and I did that with this brush and a sheet of paper as a template, and it's fine. So if you're just starting out, I'd say go with the cheap brushes, clean your cheap brushes, because trust me, the one day that you forget to leave paint in it and then go to bed, you will not be happy. But yeah, look after your brushes, clean them, and to be honest with you, there's a lot you can do with them. Absolute tons. And that's it for me. So this is my first video. Let me know what you think, and take care, everybody. Stay safe.